welcome back to the deep dive. You want the efficient roadmap, you need the why, all synthesized. And today, we're tackling something huge, but maybe sounds simple, the real power behind learning English. We pulled together material that honestly goes way beyond your standard checklist. It treats English less like a subject and more like a key.
Yeah.
Like structural infrastructure almost, that unlocks opportunities. So our mission today isn't just listing benefits, it's about pulling out specific tactical advice from the research, especially for overcoming that big hurdle, that initial nervousness.
Yeah, that initial hurdle is absolutely critical. It's something the sources zero in on. So what we've got is basically a two-part blueprint. First, we lay out the really compelling reasons why you'd make this investment in learning English, high-stakes stuff. But second, and maybe this is the most valuable bit for you, the learner, is we dissect the actual strategies the material suggests. Strategies designed specifically to get you moving past that starting line fear without just burning out. It's a deep dive into motivation and execution.
Okay, great. So let's unpack that structure, starting with the big why. The sources say learning English opens many doors. Feels true, right? But what specific doors are we talking about here? What does the research actually point to?
It's interesting, they're very practical about it. Less about vague ideas, more about, reducing friction and boosting access in measurable ways. They really detail 3 specific global drivers.
Okay.
The first one we could call global mobility. The sources explicitly mention how helpful it is in travel.
Right, the obvious one, asking for directions, that sort of thing.
Well, yes, but it goes quite a bit deeper. Think about it, something like 85% of international organizations use English, maybe 70% of tourist signs globally. It shifts from being just convenient to being, a critical tool for navigating the world.
Navigating. How so?
It means you can actually understand local reviews using translation tools better, maybe negotiate prices more effectively because the barrier's lower, and, really crucially, handle stressful situations, emergencies. English is often the fallback language for, say, medical help or officials internationally.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's not just about being multilingual, it's about having the most common international standard. You go from relying on others to being more independent when you travel.
Exactly, you're more of an independent agent. Then the second driver they identify is academic advancement.
Education, yes.
Its critical role in education. And again, it's not just about, taking one English class, it's systemic access. Estimates suggest, over half of all academic stuff online, maybe 80% of scientific journals, they're primarily in English.
80%.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if your field is computing, engineering, science, research, English fluency isn't really optional anymore. It's kind of the default language for the cutting edge of global knowledge.
That really reframes it. The language itself is the key to this massive global library. So for anyone wanting to be globally competitive, technically speaking, English is almost a prerequisite just to access the latest knowledge.
Right.
Absolutely, it's the entry ticket. And the third driver, that focuses more on the social side, how it helps in making new friends.
Okay, that sounds maybe a bit softer compared to careers or academia.
It might sound that way, but the sources frame it as pretty vital for personal growth, even psychological well-being. Learning the language allows for, deeper cultural understanding, not just surface chat. And maybe more importantly today, with global digital networks everywhere, this social ability expands your professional and personal connections exponentially, which can lead to unexpected economic benefits, sure, but also just stronger global ties, which is psychologically valuable. Got it. So it's not just casual chat, it's about building a global network of peers, maybe mentors, that fundamentally changes things. Okay, so we've got the why, big stuff, travel utility, knowledge access, network expansion, crucial. But here's where, for me, the research gets really actionable. Because it's easy to talk about the payoff, right? But the sources immediately address the biggest practical problem, just starting, that mental block.
Yeah, it's interesting how quickly they pivot to the mental game, isn't it? They explicitly say many beginners feel nervous. It's that fear of, making a fool of yourself, fear of mistakes. It stops more people than lack of time, I reckon.
Totally. So the challenge is, how do you deal with that fear? How do you turn the motivation into actual consistent action that doesn't feel overwhelming?
And the sources offer a kind of blueprint for lowering that anxiety.
Okay, so what's step 1 in that blueprint? Yeah. Brilliant, really. Basic behavioral strategy, start small. Start small.
Yeah, the first, least intimidating step, designed specifically so you don't get overwhelmed right at the beginning. And they even suggest a specific tactic. Listen to short English stories.
Short stories.
Yeah.
Okay, why short? Is that just about convenience, fitting it in? Or is there something more to it for someone who's nervous?
Oh, it's definitely more than just convenience. It's rooted in how we learn languages, managing cognitive load. See, when you're nervous, your brain's already working overtime, right? If you demand it processes something long and complex, you're setting yourself up to fail.
Right, reinforcing the nervousness.
Exactly. So by emphasizing short stories, the sources are basically using this idea of comprehensible input. Material that's just a little bit beyond where you are now. Short stories mean you finish quickly, you get a win. A little dopamine hit, right?
A positive feedback loop.
Precisely. It builds confidence before you get mentally tired. It's like an anti-burnout measure built right in. You get that rapid success feeling, which fuels the next try. It tackles the anxiety by making the task feel doable.
Okay, that reframe starts small, completely. It's not dumbing it down. It's a smart strategy for building momentum and avoiding that early, I can't do this feeling. So if that measured start is important, where does it go next? What about effort?
Well, it leads straight into the need for consistency. Repetition. Frequency over just raw intensity. The source material hammers this home. You need to practice daily.
Daily.
Okay.
Now, for someone focused on efficiency, they might think, why not just do a huge session on Saturday?
Yeah, it seems logical, doesn't it? But it's about how our brains actually work. Neurological reinforcement. Small, consistent daily practice, even just 15 minutes, helps your brain build long-term memory pathways way more effectively than like one massive stressful session.
Like building muscle.
Kind of, yeah. It combats that forgetting curve, Every day you're telling your brain, hey, this English stuff, it's relevant, keep it. Daily practice makes it stick. It builds the habit. And that's the real goal.
Yeah.
All right, so the plan is make the task smaller, short stories, then do it more often, daily. But we still have that fear issue.
If I practice daily, I'm definitely going to make mistakes. Lots of them, probably. How do we deal with that?
And that brings us to what I think is the most critical psychological shift the sources talk about. It's absolutely essential if you want to keep going. The advice is blunt. Don't be afraid of mistakes.
Easy to say.
Well, yes, but it's not just, a motivational poster slogan. It actually defines the mechanism of learning.
Okay, how so? Based on the research, how should we think about a mistake? Why isn't it failure? The sources are really clear. The fundamental truth is that mistakes are part of learning. Full stop.
We have to see mistakes not as, oh, I failed, but as necessary data. Data points your brain needs to correct its path.
Data points.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, think about it. You try to say something, you make an error, your brain registers the outcome, maybe the communication didn't work, or you get corrected.
And it immediately starts adjusting the neural pathway for the next time. It learns from the error.
So if you avoid speaking because you're scared of mistakes,
You're basically starving your brain of the very data it needs to get better. The sources are essentially saying, if you're not making mistakes, you're probably not pushing yourself enough. You're not really engaging at that just slightly difficult level where learning happens.
Wow.
Mistakes are proof you're actually learning, actively doing it.
that's incredibly powerful. It changes the whole goal. It's not about being perfect. It's about engaging fully, actively seeking out the edges of what you know so you can improve.
Exactly right. It makes the whole process feel more cyclical, more forgiving. It can even turn that nervous energy into like productive curiosity. Okay, that didn't work. Why not? Let's try this. Okay.
Yeah.
So if we pull this whole action plan together, start small, manageable inputs like short stories, practice daily for consistency for the brain.
And crucially, embrace mistakes as necessary feedback, as data.
It all kind of culminates in the final two instructions from the sources, doesn't it? The really simple, non-negotiable ones. Keep practicing and never give up. Those are the pillars, yeah. Persistence.
It suggests that learning a language isn't really about some innate talent, is it? It's much more about just applying effort consistently over time, even when it feels awkward or you make errors.
And that's really the core synthesis, the deep dive takeaway here. The ultimate insight is that the sources aren't just giving you a how-to list, they're offering a psychological framework. Learning English opens up the world, sure, but the key isn't just willpower. It's a strategic shift in how you think about it. Accepting that persistence, powered by these daily, manageable steps, is the learning mechanism. It overrides that initial fear. You're designing your own learning to encourage, low-stakes failure and high-frequency trying.
So for you, the listener, wherever you are on this journey, just starting or maybe stuck, what does this boil down to? We've seen the huge power, travel, knowledge, connections, and we've extracted a strategy that's simple but seems really effective. Start small, practice every day, and fundamentally change how you see mistakes. They're not failures, they're required steps.
Required steps, exactly.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. Thinking about this focus on daily practice, persistence, and especially that core idea, mistakes are part of learning. How could applying that principle change how you approach the next challenging skill you want to learn? Maybe it's coding, maybe it's public speaking, maybe something else entirely. That mechanism seems like it goes way beyond just learning English, doesn't it? Something worth thinking about. Thanks for joining us for the deep dive. We'll see you next time.
Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel.